James, you are so lucky. You only have to work weekends. You must be living the dream. Man, it seems like you hardly work at all, but are so successful. I don't get it. Man, things come so easy to you. You are so lucky. Welcome back, my friends, to another episode. Some Monday motivation coming your way. If you're watching this a different day, just some motivation coming your way. Today is all about hard work, quote unquote, being lucky. And if you've ever heard any of those phrases that I said in the beginning, you've probably experienced that before. And that probably means you're either a photographer or a creative entrepreneur, or you're in the workspace that's technically non-traditional. You don't have a 9-to-5, or you have a side hustle that you're really successful in that lets people look at you and think, you must only work Saturdays. That's one of my favorite things I ever hear. So today is all about hard work, what it produces, the good and the bad of it all, and some traps to avoid when dialing in to your craft, to your business, and doing the hard work. And speaking of hard work, before we dive in, if you are a photographer, whether it's portrait, family, wedding photographer, whatever it is, if you're looking to level up your business, I made a free workshop for you that you can hit the button below, sign up. It's about an hour long and it's packed full of our 5 ways to make more money without needing to raise your prices. I'm all about raising your prices. I'm all about charging your worth, adding value, but sometimes it's easier to make more money off clients you already do have, adding more value to them, upping their experience, and putting more income in your bank, in your pocket. That workshop is for free below. Like I said, it's about an hour long, so hit that link after this video and I will see you in that workshop. But right now, I wanna dive in and kind of deconstruct some of those sentences that maybe you've heard before, maybe you've said before you understand the actual work that goes into things and breaking them down. My favorite one is when people just say, man, you're so lucky. That is a pretty assumptuous statement. I'm so lucky. And the rhetoric and the replay I always put in my head, I always quote famous golfer Arnold Palmer says, it's funny, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? And in other words, luck does not come from lack of action. It's, in fact, the complete opposite. The harder I work, the more consistent I show up, the quote-unquote luckier I get. And all that means is if I'm consistently working smart and hard, over time, that compounds on itself to what some people might call luck, which I call results and fruit from hard, consistent work. Now, some of the things they're saying in those sentences are true. I do feel like I'm living the dream because I absolutely love what I'm doing. I love that I'm a wedding photographer. Jess, my wife, and I do it together, and we get to travel the world, photographing beautiful couples, teaching amazing people like you. That blows my mind. I'm so beyond grateful every single day for that. The untrue stuff, you have it so easy. Things come so easy to you. You're so lucky. You only work Saturdays. You hardly work at all. Those things crack me up. And whoever said the phrase, I don't know who coined this phrase, but we've all heard it. And they say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life again. What a load of shit. In fact, I say it's the contrary. I say it's the complete opposite. If you love what you do, coming from someone who deeply knows what I'm doing, what I love to do, I find purpose in it, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If you choose to do what you love, you will work harder than anyone else because you love it so much and you know what you're trying to create because there's so much passion and power behind that. Now, yes, it is more fulfilling than if you had some 9-to-5 job or you were working for someone you don't like or in a career path that's bothering you, even if you are a hard worker. It's definitely more fulfilling. But it's also more work than I could probably ever imagine. When I set out on this journey, I knew it was going to be hard work. I did not know it would be like it is today. And fortunately, those things create amazing things, and that's what I want to talk about. But just know, whoever said, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life again, that could not be further from the truth. And the simple truth of the matter is, there is no substitution for success except consistent, smart, and hard work compounded over time. And that just means every day I'm going to show up and I'm going to move the dirt. I'm going to choose to show up consistently day after day after day and do the work, put the time in, and then all of a sudden some time goes by with that consistent hard work. The results compound on themselves, and that's what success looks like. The overnight success, the people you stare and think they came out of nowhere. Behind that was loads of gritty hard work, and there's really no substitution for that. And the truth is, I really don't care when people say those things to me, whether it's a DM or someone in the street or a family member or a friend of a friend that just says, man, you're living the dream. Man, you only work Saturdays. How do you do this? You seem so lucky. Things come so easy to you. Even though I know those things aren't true, I actually enjoy it, because what that means to me is I laugh. It means instead of seeing the hard work I'm doing, they're seeing the fruit that hard work is producing. And that is so much more important to me than who cares if they know how hard I work or not? The fruit I'm producing is what they're seeing, and at times baffling them to think, how do you do this? It doesn't seem like you work that hard. And that brings me to my first point that I want you to know, and it sums up, one of my best friends always uses the phrase to sum this up in, don't let them see your sweat. And that's my first point. Don't let them see your sweat. And what this essentially means is your reward should not be in the admiration of your hard work. It should be in the fruit that your hard work produces, in the results that it produces, in the creating amazing photos, having people's businesses thrive because what you teach them, having amazing content online, changing people's marriages because you're so good at what you do. Whatever that looks like, that's the real reward. And what don't let them see your sweat means is not intentionally bringing awareness to your hard work. It's not going out there, opening the windows and doors to your office and say, look at everyone, look how hard I'm working. Now, if you do that, you'll get your reward, and your reward is going to be just that. People being like, wow, you work so hard. Oh, I could never do that. You blah, blah, blah. And you're going to start to get that rush of dopamine because people will see how hard you're working, and you'll start to feel really good about that. But a couple things are going to happen if that's what you choose. One, you will get your reward and you'll feel good for a little bit because people are admiring your hard work. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to be so focused on making it look like you're working hard that you're actually not going to pay as much attention to the results that work should be creating. Another thing that's going to happen is if that's how you run your work life, letting people in, trying to get the admiration for how hard you work, you're going to be so focused on that, and you're going to start eventually, if not sooner than later, and sooner than later this will happen, you're not going to start producing remarkable results, which means you're going to be looked at like a hypocrite. People are going to see you and start to hear, oh, that hard work, and that's going to start to dwindle when there's no result that comes from the hard work or the lack of hard work that people are admiring you for. And what else is happening here is psychologically, this is proven. Humans get the same chemical, which is dopamine. They get a dopamine rush when they say they're doing it. When you accomplish something, you get that remarkable feeling of chemical rush to your brain, and you feel amazing about it and you feel accomplished. You get a small portion of that same rush when you go and tell someone you're going to do something because you feel good about it. And psychologically, this is sabotage, because actually what this means is if I go out and say what I'm going to do and I get the same reward that my brain is looking for when I actually do it, even if it's only a partial amount, psychologically it's enough for me to write it off, say, oh, I've already felt good about that. Subconsciously, your brain goes, we've already done that. I already gave yourself the reward for that. So you're basically sabotaging yourself, making it, one, harder for you to actually accomplish what you're doing when you say those things, and it's going to make you look bad when you actually just look for the admiration of hard work and not the fruit your hard work should be producing. And that's a tall order, but I hope I've convinced you by now that if you're just working for work's sake to get the admiration of others, you're doing it wrong. So let's talk about the right ways to do this. If it's not just about being seen for hard work, it's about the results you're trying to get from that hard work. I said it earlier, and this is number one. Point number one when it comes to how to do it right, there's no substitute for consistent hard work compounded over time. I wish there was to a degree, but then I know there's not, because that means everyone I see with the remarkable results, whether it looks like they're working hard or not, I know the grit that went into it before and every day after that got him to that point. And yes, we can get to a point where things are automated and we work less days, but it does not come at zero cost, and it only comes with consistent hard work. So if our work model isn't opening the doors up intentionally for people to see how hard we're working, that means one thing. And one of my other friends says it like this. He says, you have to be willing to work really, really hard in private so that when you go into public, you're the best at what you do. And that is a heavy statement. He says, you must be willing to work really hard in private without people needing to see the work so that when you go into public, you're the best at what you do. What that means is you can work your ass off without anyone knowing it, because when you go into public, the fruit, the results of that hard work is so prominent that no one can ignore it. And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. When you actually start doing the hard work this way, one, when you do this and you're not concerned who's looking at you or who's not, you're gonna get results way quicker than you imagined, and way quicker than if you're just focused on people looking at how hard you work. And two, a little secret, you're gonna realize how unpretty, unsexy, and unpostable hard work actually is. And that's the truth of it. It sounds funny, but if you're focused on people looking at you and like, oh, they work so hard, it's really, the real hard work isn't that pretty. In fact, it looks like me sitting right here hacking on a computer for 6 hours a day sometimes. It looks like me getting up at 5 a.m. to get my morning routine dialed so that I can go out and produce. And it doesn't look like hopping on airplanes. It doesn't look like shooting unbelievable weddings or speaking on stages in front of hundreds of people. It looks like me with headphones in, quiet, doing the gritty work. But it's that unsexy, disciplined, gritty, hard work that allows me to do all those amazing things, that allows me to be fruitful and have all those other things that people look at and be like, wow, it doesn't look like you work that hard to get, yet I know how hard I work to get it. And I just got back, me and Jess and two other of our couple best friends who are all husband and wife photographer teams, we were all in Florida for a big project we were working on. And I was doing a mastermind call in their office in the other room. So I was on a Zoom call doing mastermind with some people, and they all had a lot of work to do. The work they were doing while I was on my mastermind call, they were all in the living room on their computers, was making us all more income, was expanding our reach, being fruitful, making our audience see us more, doing things that were changing us, our business and the industry for the better. And one of them happened to set up their phone on a time lapse, and I'm so happy they did, because I'm gonna show you this is actually what gritty hard work looks like. And friends, isn't that beautiful? I think it's hilarious, but I look at that and I think, man, that's actually what it looks like. Day by day. Sure, sometimes I'm running errands or I'm doing that, but without that work, just sitting there on a laptop, reaching out to the people you're supposed to, having the hard conversations, sweating because you're nervous to talk to that person or offer them something, writing the emails, automating the systems, actually working on and in your business. That's the only way this happens, and that's really what it looks like. So I want you to pull away two things from this. One, the more consistent, gritty, hard work that you put in that usually looks like that, just hacking on a computer, having those conversations, pushing yourself, not worried about what people think about you, is the only way to get more quote unquote luck. But what that actually is more fruit you're producing and more opportunities from showing up every single day. And number two, and this is the biggest thing I want you to take away from this, if you take away anything from this video, it's this. The real reward is in the fruit you are producing from the hard work, not the admiration of the hard work you're doing. I'm gonna say that one more time. The real reward is in the fruit that you're producing from the hard work. The reward is not from the admiration of the hard work you're putting in. And that means you should be more concerned about what you're producing and the results you're doing and the things that you love and are changing your industry, changing the world, changing people's lives, than just being like, ooh, look at me, I'm working so hard. And the best part about this is when you know that perspective, when you adopt this perspective, and someone says to you, oh, you only work Saturdays, you're so lucky. I just laugh it off because I know it's working. One, they don't really get it. But two, that means they're seeing the fruit not the hard work, and that's totally okay with me. In fact, I'd rather people see the fruit that I'm producing than looking at me and thinking, oh my gosh, they're working so hard, because I'm working so hard for myself and the results of my hard work, not for the admiration of it. And maybe you are thinking that about someone. So if you adopt this mindset, another thing will happen. You'll start to look at people who you admire with mass success in certain industries or areas of life that you want, and you can think to yourself, it might not look like it, but I know how much hard, gritty work was put into that so they could get to that point. And that should be a massive encouragement to you, because you, whatever it is, in whatever space you're looking at, are fully capable of showing up and doing the consistent hard work, knowing well that it is going to create amazing fruit and produce amazing results. And like I said, if you are ready to level up photography business, hit that link below so you can join my free workshop on 5 ways to make more money without raising your prices. Until the next time, my friends, know you are fully capable of going out there and getting after it. And remember, don't let them see your sweat. See you tomorrow.